Forest Park. Today is October 3rd, 2022. The time is 8 p.m. Council is now in session. We're going to start by standing and saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. All right, so on our agenda, we're going to start with the roll call. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Adams.
Present.
Brown.
Here.
Sorry. Clark.
Here.
Harrison.
Here.
Holt. Here. Moore. Sylvester.
Here. All right, I need a motion to excuse Dr. Moore.
I move to excuse Dr. Moore. A second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, let it be known by the sound of voting aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion to excuse Dr. Moore passes. All right, moving on to item number 3, which is presentations. So we have a list. Oh, yeah, actually, next is minutes. So has everyone received the minutes? Are there any corrections or adjustments to be made? All right, hearing none. That's item number 2. So moving on to item number 3. Now we're at presentations. So this is going to be Industrial Beautification Awards, and it looks like we have 3 businesses that are here today, but we have a list of a long list of winners. So I guess I'm going to read the first and our north businesses. So this is Mulaney's Pharmacy and Medical Supply at 11930 Kemper Springs Drive, Suite 100. Oh, is any represented here? Sir, if you want to just... I was starting with the first one. Oh, you want to go through them? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay, Mayor Brown. Okay, so I don't know if I can do it as well as you can. Okay, so Milani's Pharmacy and Medical Supply, you are here to represent them, sir. Wonderful. Would you please come up to the podium? We'd like to give you your certificate and possibly take a picture with Mayor Brown. Do you have the certificate?
Right here.
Thank you, sir.
Find there's the name.
What's your name? Mr. Brooks. Mr. Brooks, on behalf of the Forest Park City Council, we'd like to. What am I doing wrong now? The beautification, on behalf of the beautification committee, and it is, and this is my first term, so I'm still learning. So please be patient. We'd like to present you with this beautification award. So I'm going to hand this to you, and in the end, I'd like to get a picture of all the awardees that are here really quick before we move on to the next part. So if you could just step to the side for me, and we're going to call the next one. The next one is going to be Emeritus at 1880 Waycross.
Do we have to hold all of our applause?
Ma'am?
We have to hold our applause?
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that one too. I got these big old glasses on and still cannot see. No, Emeritus. Thank you, sir. I'm going to give you this one, and in the end, we'll take a picture with everyone. Over there. Okay, hold your applause. Hey, we're going to do a big applause in the end. The next is going to be CareCore at the Meadows.
Oh.
And the awards also say, everyone, for outstanding community services and dedication to beautifying the city of Forest Park. Oh, we got a bun in the oven. Exciting, exciting. And our last one is going to be Kensington Park Apartments. Yes. Yeah, we're gonna all take one. But we're gonna all do one together.
If everyone wants to... Trevina.
You all can come up front.
Yeah, Trevina, tell them to come in front of the dais. Yeah.
Mayor Brown, can you please come down, please?
Yeah.
And Vice Mayor.
I think at the end, that's what Rafika's telling me. Okay. That council statement.
Mayor Brown.
Also the church.
Queen Chapel, I think.
See, you didn't have that highlighted. Wait, Trevina.
Hold up,
Gina, are there other people here for the awards? I think we have.
There they are.
Chapel.
City Gate is in the house too. It's okay. It's okay. City Gate is here. Right there. There it is. No, they're not gonna be able to tell. Thank, thank you all so very much for the work that you all are doing at your respective locations. It really does, just to echo Councilwoman Adams'
Citygate, thank you guys. We appreciate you.
thank you so much.
Stepped up really big for our
Yes, you did.
Jazz Fest.
Shuttles and everything, yeah.
Shuttles and
Yeah.
everything. We really appreciate that.
Yes, we do. Oh, I won't.
Guys,
We're not.
Anything we can do for you guys at any time, honestly.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for all the help you've given us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And where's Dr. Kabamba?
There she is.
Dr. Kabamba.
Forest Chapel in the house.
I'm going to say this publicly. Stand back over here now. You were probably the first person I met when I started working here. Yes. She called me up. It couldn't have been here maybe 2 days. And she came up to the office, introduced herself, and invited me to her church. And we had a great time. I brought my mother, and good Methodist as she is. And we had a great time. And she continues to invite me back even against her better judgment.
I love you.
No, just kidding. She does a great job, and she's an asset to the community. Yes.
Yes, she is.
Excellent things about it. Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you.
It's usually not this exciting. But come back.
Or this unorganized, my fault.
Thank you,
No, you're fine.
Councilmember Adams.
It's okay.
No, you did really good.
You done
All
good.
right, so that concludes item number 3 on the agenda of presentations. Moving on to item number 4, this is communications from the public. So this is the time for citizens to comment on matters before council or ask questions of concern to them. So when recognized, please come forward to the podium, give your name and address, and state your comments or questions. Council meetings are tape recorded for ease of transcription, and then comments are limited to 5 minutes. So if you want to address council, now is the time. So please come to the podium, and it should be a sign-in sheet up there as well.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Evangeline Davenport. I am the spokesperson for the owners of Saks Pole Fitness, which is my granddaughter, Yasmin Harris, and my daughter, Tamara Harris. And I don't know how I got this spot, but I got it. Anyway, we don't want to complain. We just want to let you all know what we plan to bring to the community. And then we have hit some bumps that we're really concerned about with the community. And we just wanted to bring them before you all. Saks Pole Fitness, it's an exercise program. It was previously in Mount Healthy. There is no nudity. You know, as my pastor's wife, when she called me, she said, it's the incantation. I said, well, it's an exercise. There's no nudity or anything of that nature. Saks provides line dance, Suma, heel dance, hip-hop, as well as salsa and many other forms of dance that they teach and instruct. We have dance team practices there. We also try to spend time with youth, etiquette classes, and just things that, to keep them involved and out of the street. Which we try to be good mentors and just do things that are wholesome for the neighborhood and the children. We outgrew our previous location. People were coming in from Atlanta and from Alabama and different places, even to schedule and take classes. We've never had any problems in our business, and we just really are excited about being where we are. But the few bumps we've had, by the way, Kenny Smith is our contractor. My granddaughter tried to come over and do every permit, everything that was asked that she did for her to do, she did. And as a result, the fire inspector came by one night, and the gentleman who was Kenny Smith was laying our floor, and he said, "Stop. And you need to talk to the people in the building office, and because you might have to tear out everything you've done." And so that was a little concern. And then we got an email stating that we had to get some additional permits, additional stuff, and pay $4,500 for some of these additional things that we had never heard of, like a change of use, occupancy certificate, or what have you. The problem is, we found out when the fire inspector and the building guy came, they had not been in the building somewhere between 5 and 7 years. The previous owners had not let them in. And somewhere along that line, somebody had took down a wall. So we walked into the building not knowing that someone had took down a wall. And so then they told us that they wanted a floor plan. So we drew a floor plan, and we sent it in, and they sent it back and said, "Nice drawing, but we want a professional floor plan by a contractor." We know there's several other people in that strip mall or what have you. They did hand-drawn floor plans, and they were perfectly fine. But apparently,
Where are you?
it's 1178 Kemper over in the promenade. So the only thing we've done is repaired holes in walls, repaired ceiling tiles, and laid a floor. That's the only thing that we've done. And we've been accused of taking down that wall. We did not. We have pictures of how the building looked when we first saw it, when we leased it, and then we made contact. We did everything we were supposed to do, but apparently there's some conflict between the new owners of the building and the city, which we don't have anything to do with. So when the fire inspector and the building guy came over, he said they can keep leasing them and we'll keep putting them out. And those boys in Texas need to stay in Texas. And we told them, we said, well, we don't have anything to do with that. We want to run a reputable business in the community. We don't want any problems or confusion, but he's saying things like electric door for handicap.
A different occupant permit other than what we have, which I've paid for, and I have proof that I've already paid for my permit, and it's already in the system.
And we checked before we leased the building to make sure the business was allowed in the community, that it met, the constraints and everything, and they gave us the go-ahead. And so once we've done everything, it's like, now all of a sudden, it's just a big mess. So we don't know what to do.
Question, who was the previous owner, do you know, or previous tenant?
Well,
It was, I'm sorry.
okay.
It was 3-in-1 Men's Fashion. That was a couple of years ago. And what we're running into is our unit was combined into 2 units. So it is 1178 in the front, and then if you go on the side, it's 1174. someone busted out that wall, which made them one big unit. So we have 3,732 square feet. So when we wanted the city to come in for our occupancy permit, they told us, no, this can't happen because we want permits for that wall. We just moved in. It was not us doing that. So that's what we're running into. And our side has two sides. So what you're looking at is the one side is bigger than the other, and we've shown pictures of us moving in, and then that's the other side where it's pole fitness, and then we have just a strict dance floor on the other side. So I don't have that initial picture of just the dance floor where we provide just dance classes. So we're trying to run one big studio, which is permitted in Forest Park, and that's where we're running into.
Yeah, they said it was PB planned business. So now they're hitting us with a lot of things that we don't know.
That's concerning.
Yeah, especially when they saying things like they're gonna keep putting us out. Okay, we're $17,000 in to the unit. These units have been sitting for 15 years. I mean,
And you
the
see
unit
what
is
we've done with
beautiful
it.
from what we had, and even with them standing there, I showed them the video of us going in the first day before we even signed the lease. I let them see the video that we took before we even signed the lease.
So did you talk to anybody at the city before you decided to lease?
Yes, ma'am. That's how we found out that we were able to
Who
lease
did you
it.
talk?
I talked to Kara. I called the first time I ever called, because she lives in Forest Park. I don't.
No, I don't live in Forest Park.
Oh, right, Butler County. Sorry, she's
Fairfield.
close. So I talked to Kara, and Kara said that the business would be permitted in the city. I gave her the address. She said it would be permitted in that address. That was what I said. What I said to her, and that's what I got.
And you found out what permits you needed.
And she told me what permits I needed, and I ended up paying for those. I have the receipt for the occupancy permit. The only reason I didn't move forward with the signage permit and the change of use is because we wanted to see you guys first, because we ran into the problem with the city trying to tell us we needed a higher permit, and we got an email back from Miss Rachel stating thanks for the drawing. It was just nasty comments after nasty comments, and all we want to do is run our business like everybody else in the community.
And then we came over to meet with them. And when we came over to meet with them, they weren't aware that there were some friends of ours in the office. And once we left, they had plenty of comments. And they came right over to the studio and told us, the things that they were saying. It was just very unprofessional.
I'm so sorry, who did you meet with?
Kara
And Rachel.
Oh, you actually came
and,
back.
And Rafiq.
Okay.
We seen all three of them in the office that day.
and Rafiq, the fire inspector, came the next day. And, their comments, and, if they have a problem with the company, that's between them and the company, not us. So we should know, we should know what's going on there. But to punish us because they hadn't been in that unit in several years and some things have been done is not very fair.
They're asking for permits, like actual engineer, architect permits. So we ended up submitting just a hand drawing one, and that's when we got back the email from Miss Rachel saying, nice drawing, but you're gonna have to get an engineer/architect, which he only wanted that type of proof because of that wall, which had nothing to do with us.
And we have talked to several other leases in the strip mall,
And
they have submitted hand drawing that didn't look nothing like
ours.
what ours.
One thing that stood out to me was the daycare enter a hand drawn, and we know we could submit that through state because we have owned the salon. So not only that, it's just different things. The change of use. We have retail.
And they're telling us because we're going in as a dance studio that it's not retail, but we sell retail. So this is the kicker to this, guys. The front half of the store was retail. The back half was never leased out.
So they say, but it was. It was
It was cryosensi.
We're not gonna get anything accomplished here.
Right.
We hear you talk.
Yeah, right. But this
What we
is
need
what
to
we're
do
dealing
is,
with.
bottom line is, that facility over there has some major building problems. Whether it's fire code violations, building code violations, and we have to follow the state building code.
Well, he could not
regards to
give
that
us,
building.
I'm sorry, but he did not give us not one violation.
Well, I'm just saying,
Right.
that building itself has it.
Right.
And then in order for them to do what they have to do, which is approve your occupancy, final occupancy, the changes that need to happen, they have to follow those rules and regulations. Now, what I'll do is I'll figure out exactly the timeline as to how everything happened, how it went down. But the bottom line is, and this is historically about that building there over the last several years, since even the previous owner, is they tend to lease the spot knowing that we've told them the things that need to be done, but they go ahead and lease them anyway and have the leasee deal with it. That's their history, and that's where that's the thing you've got mixed up in. Now, we'll do the right thing, and we'll follow the law and make sure that we protect the public, because that's our job, is to protect the public, to make sure that there's no fire violations. If somebody gets in there and gets hurt and we said, yeah, it was okay, let it go, or we didn't get engineered drawings and the building falls down because the wall got taken out that was a structural wall, or it doesn't have the right, because they expanded that building. Now, instead of being 1,000 square feet, it's 4,000 square feet or 3,000 square feet, which comes under a different code in the section. So there's all kinds of things that, quite frankly, you got to be a permit guy to know, or an engineer, or whatever. And but I can tell you this: we want businesses here, and we want small businesses, and we want local businesses. So, but the bottom line is we have to protect the public, and when we protect the public, people need to go in there and know that that building's safe, because we follow the rules. A lot of other cities don't. They'll just kind of do whatever they got to do. But we make sure that our citizens are protected, and I will get to the bottom of it, and I'll give you a written report that says from on this date, this date, this date, this date, and show you exactly if there's an issue and there's a problem, we'll correct it. If there's a reason that they're doing something, that we'll tell you, and then that's the best way to do it. That way you don't have to worry about that somebody's not doing the right thing. And I pledge you that we'll do that, and if there's an issue there where we've done wrong, we'll get it corrected.
In the
You all are more than welcome to tour us. Yes. You're more than welcome. We invite you in. We want you to come in. We want you to see what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you wanting to start a business in Forest Park, because this is exactly, we want more business owners to come to our community. But in the meantime, if you can continue to work with Rafiq, I know that you submitted a hand-drawn, and other businesses said they also submitted one, but do you think that you would be able to have your contractor contact any architects and get any additional, like, if just in case we go back and do due diligence, because this is the first time that I'm actually hearing of it, but then we go back and then they say, oh, the code now says that we need, official drawings. Are you able to do that, or?
Well, we flipped it back on the owners, and we let them know that we've paid them a sufficient amount of money for them to be able to provide to you all what's needed. On the other side of that, we came in and we asked, because it has been leased, it's been a while, we asked where were the drawings from the last leasee, and they were unable to find them. But I find it strange that upstairs up over us, there has been nobody there for an even longer amount of time, but they have drawings from last year. So there's something that just is not right.
This is the exact point that we're making about the promenade. We don't own the building, and it just really takes a open line of communication, like to have true partnership. But if you going about your business and you're on top of things, as we can clearly see, if that owner is making you a tenant, but then they haven't given you all the pertinent information, now you're running into issues. it's kind of like they're kind of passing the ball to us as if the city is the issue, but we didn't know that the wall was knocked down, and we didn't know, the new tenant that they were going to bring in there, and if the room is even up to code for you to lease it.
And then who can give us proof that that wall was knocked down? We don't know.
And they don't know, before they bought it, it was already knocked down.
Right. So yeah, I think the right step is you go back and give some pushback to the landlord,
And
but we
believe
do have to do our due diligence as well to find out exactly what that size square footage like. Make sure everything is up to
knock
code.
the wall down, it's just the
They
fact of
just-
the matter is there's not a wall there.
Yes,
And
I mean, it's kind of crazy.
That causes issues if there's supposed to be a wall and there isn't, doesn't really not matter who knocked it down.
Yeah.
For us to move forward, if that's what the code says, it has to be replaced. But I don't know, again, I don't know the details.
We didn't either.
And I will.
We were like
I just want to say
blindsided.
that I can get to the bottom of it, and I'm not going to guarantee that you might not like what we have to say.
I got it.
But I'm going to tell you that you're going to get a fair hearing, and that if there's something that we've done wrong, then we'll make sure that we'll correct it.
I do think the professionalism, though, of the people
That we can
and
absolutely.
how they talked to us and how they made us feel was just very, very unprofessional.
Yeah.
And we came and we wanted to talk to them, and we want to do the right thing, guys.
Have you made a?
I have a quick question. And city manager and or mayor, please help me with this on behalf of the Sax Pole Fitness. Thank you so much. I know that if I am a tenant and I am renting housing, I can put my rent in escrow. If you are a business that is a tenant, are there any actions you can take against that particular landlord or anything like that?
Yeah, that's definitely a John
I-
question, but I still don't.
I was going to say, please make sure. I'm sorry.
About to answer a question.
Is that an option for?
I'm going to dodge the question by saying it'd be a conflict of interest if I give legal advice to these ladies who may have a protest with the city.
But I do think that you should have good counsel. I do think you should have a good legal counsel.
Absolutely.
And look at what
And-
your rights are as business owners.
Yes.
But there should be a
And-
written lease, and that spells out rights
We
and
have one.
obligations.
And none of this, this is not, I guess they didn't foresee it and we didn't foresee it. It's not in there. And that's why I told them this is not our responsibility. You guys are going to have to do something.
Have you made a formal complaint about the lack of professionalism and how you
No,
were
ma'am,
treated?
I have not.
Can you please make sure you detail all of that information and get it back to us?
Okay. Do
On
you
your
just want a
time, your
written
dates,
letter?
and what was said, please.
Okay. We thank you for your time.
Thank
Do
you
you
so
have our
much, and
city
we are sorry
manager's
that you're
email address? You may be able to forward that email to him, that formal complaint to him. Is that an option?
Is it on the website?
It should be, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies, so very much.
Thank you. I can't wait till the open house.
I can't wait for it to open. We will. We're excited. Well, please invite us to your ribbon cutting ceremony. Try to have it after 5 so I can come. I'm excited about
Over
it.
here next to the
daycare, and then we have a restaurant that's coming next door.
And that's what they said when they said, yeah, they want to bring a restaurant in, said, but they can keep leasing them and we'll put them out. And then, we made the comment about it.
well, how late do y'all stay open to work on your facility?
Over there working on it. Anytime, if you want to come, you let us know.
It's finished now.
It's almost completely done.
Yeah.
When the classes started.
All right. All right, council, we have to get back in the session.
Thank you all so much for coming this evening.
All right, well, thank you for coming.
You can find all council members on our website. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right,
Yes, ma'am.
all right, that concludes item number 4 on the agenda, communications from the public. Moving on to item number 5, which is reports from standing committees, and we're going to start with Councilmember Adams.
I don't have a report for the Beautification Committee nor for our Quality of Life Committee at this time. We have made a commitment, though, to the Quality of Life. We've made a commitment to definitely reconvene myself and Councilwoman Dr. Moore before the end of the month. So that's definitely going to happen in the effort to really kick this off. But also, too, I'd like to remind our residents that there is mortgage, property tax, and utility assistance available through through Hamilton County. And I'm really hoping that our residents that may need some assistance and relief will apply for those services, and you can do that at 513relief.org.
All right. Thank you for that, Councilmember Adams. And let me just look at the work session agenda. I don't have any items on the work session. Would you like to add any for you?
Yes, sir, I would. I would like to, and I did talk with Councilwoman Clark about this, but I do think that it's worth talking about. I would like to know possibly have someone that does sign language attend our council meetings. I feel like that's a population that we are not reaching. I know that we have the TDD, but if residents can tune in and watch live, I'd like for our brothers and sisters and residents that are deaf to be able to do the same.
Okay. Yeah, we can look into that. But, our meetings, since they're recorded, they are transcribed also. So I think we have subtitles, but I think that's a good idea as well. We'll look into that. All right. Moving on to the next Councilmember Clark.
Thank you. I don't have a report. I just wanted to give a big thank you. All of our departments and a ton of volunteers did a whole lot of work last week, not just for the Harvest Fest. It went extraordinarily well, so thank you all for the work that you did there, but also partnering on the homecoming parade. That was absolutely lovely. It was really great, and of course we got to come home with a win, so that made it even all the more better. And just a big thank you to Mayor Brown for leading the work in getting Forest Park in its proper placement and recognized, and being part of the NAACP's gala that they had this Saturday, where they recognized our former mayor. So Mayor Charles Johnson received a wonderful lifetime award, and we're very proud of that.
Thank you. I don't have any items for the work session for you. Do you have any to add?
The one from last work session that I mentioned, the stay for special exceptions, that report.
Oh,
okay.
Yes. All right. That. I'll make sure I add that. All right. Moving on, Councilmember Harrison.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, and happy birthday. I have nothing to report at this time, but I would like to encourage any residents, if you would like to sit on any committees, please submit your resume and application to the city. I'll be working with the city clerk to get those names and get these individuals interviewed. And we do have some positions open, and if you do want to serve your city, that is a good way to do so. That is all I have.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Harrison. And would you like to add any items to the work session?
Not at this time, thank you.
Moving on to First Vice Mayor Holt.
I don't have a report tonight, but I would like to add on the next work session, as I've asked before, to have Parks and Rec here.
Yes.
For a discussion. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. And Dr. Moore is not here. And then moving on to Councilmember Sylvester.
Mr. Mayor, I do not have a report at this time.
All right, thank you for that, Councilmember. All right, and that concludes item number 5, reports with standing committees. Moving on to item number 6, which is the mayor's report. And to echo the sentiments of Councilmember Clark, yes, we did participate in the annual homecoming parade for the Winton Woods Warrior football team. We do support our school district out here. The city has always been a huge supporter of the school district and all of our students. And we want to thank all of the residents for coming out. There was good weather. It was really good times. The rain held off, and there was a ton of candy. So it was a really good event. And then also I do want to give a special thanks also to the city manager, because the city of Forest Park, for the first time ever, we did participate in the annual NAACP Freedom Fund dinner. So so myself, Councilmember Clark, Councilmember Harrison, and Councilmember Sylvester were in attendance, and we did get to see former Mayor Johnson receive the Theodore M. Berry Award for political and community service. So it was just really good to turn out. Everybody was looking fantastic, and then get to see the former mayor be honored in such a way was it was truly it was a sight to behold. That was the largest I probably have ever seen him smile. But it was just a really good ceremony, and it was very beautiful. And I believe that there is a video that will be shared with us that we should be able to put up online. That they said they were
One
gonna
on
send to
there
us.
too, but.
So that'll be available for residents to look at on our website whenever it becomes available to us. So after that, that is going to conclude my report, and I do not have any items to add to the work session. So moving on to item number 7, which is going to be the city manager's report.
Well, I want to echo everything that everyone said this evening, that the parade was great. We do, and we did win the game, which is important as well.
You did.
And Harvest Fest on Saturday was a tremendous success, and a lot of people were trying to figure out how many, at least 400 plus people. A lot of volunteers, a lot of things going on, lots of kids in their costumes. The most important thing is I won the chili contest. He won the chili.
Congrats, Doc.
Thank you very much. I had to bring in some reinforcements to vote on for me, but he did well. So all kidding aside, it was a great day and perfect weather, and we look forward to making it even bigger next year. And moving forward with that, I couldn't say more about again the former mayor Charles Johnson and his winning or being awarded the NAACP Lifetime Achievement Award for service to the community and service in the political environment as well. And I think it's tremendous, and no one could be better qualified to get that. So I think it's great for him, and I'm proud that he won that for the work that he's done here, but also across his lifetime of achievement. It's amazing what he's done. I'll get to just a quick thing about the road programs. The local road programs have begun. Some of the things that one of the questions we had back from some of the folks is, when we're going down the street, and they'll have to not park in their driveways that evening because we're going to be working in front of their houses. People have to either park on the street or move their cars out of their driveways or out of their garages. We're going to be making sure that we send extra patrols by those streets in the evenings, just in case people are worried about having to park their car outside. But those are ongoing, and those will be finished up here, depending on weather, within the next month. And things that are coming up. I had one question about when is Halloween going to be celebrated. So Halloween will be celebrated October 31st. We'll get the times right, but I'm assuming 6 to 8. But we'll put more information out, and also basketball signups are ongoing. Go to our website, give us a call if you've got a kid that wants to play basketball for the city of Forest Park within our program. It's K through 12th grade, and so give us a call, sign up, and sign-ups are going on now. Practice begins in November. Games are beginning in December. So if you've got somebody, make sure they know about it, grandkid or a neighbor. We hope we get a whole bunch of participation. That's about it. If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to address them.
All right, does anybody have any questions for the city manager? All right, thank you for that, Don. Moving on to item number 8, which is other reports. We're going to start with our law director, Mr. John Wyckoff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few items. I did review the proposed contract from the Center for Employment and gave my comments to Mr. Falkowski. I also had an issue that the city manager asked that I address regarding a dispute between two neighbors. I've responded to the complainant, and I have not heard back from her, so hopefully I answered her question. I did work with the city manager and the mayor on the proposed ordinance tonight regarding the removal of penalties for marijuana, 200 milligrams or less.
You smile real big.
He's got to carry a scale now. I don't know. There also a hold harmless and marketing agreement I reviewed at the request of the city. This was regarding a program with Liberty Mutual Insurance. Let's see, a lot of documentation. In fact, it's the most overwhelming documentation I've ever seen for the fire truck and public work leases, working between our bond counsel and the lender. It's finally coming to the end, but massive paperwork and, great work by Brenda Weimer over at Dinsmore for all that she does as our bond counsel. And then I did advise the police chief of a Supreme Court decision here in Ohio. It kind of changed the whole prospect of operating a vehicle while under the influence. Our Supreme Court decided that since the statute says operating, it has to be operating. This woman in this case happened to be intoxicated, passed out at her steering wheel, parked car, engine on, and the Supreme Court said she wasn't operating, so she couldn't be guilty of an OVI charge, which to me always made common sense. I couldn't understand why people who park their car because they're OVI end up getting an OVI because they were in the car and their keys were handy, not necessarily the engine was on. So I think under our current legislation, that was a proper interpretation. So I advised the chief of that so he could tell our police staff of this change in case law here in Ohio. That would be the end of my report unless there are any questions.
Am I allowed to ask a question that's not on that report?
Yeah, I believe so.
Am I, the feral cats, only because someone stopped me at Home Depot about the feral cats. I can't recall where we went with that.
Well, feral cats obviously exist. We've had this situation where a woman, this was years ago, she was actually feeding the cats, leaving her garage door partially open. The city inspectors worked with her and finally got her to understand that there were safety issues as well as sanitation issues, and she finally stopped doing it. And so that's really all the power we have, because nobody ever claims ownership of feral cats. And if they do, then we do have ordinances that would apply to the owner, keeper, or harborer of an animal. But if they aren't claiming ownership, then they're just wild cats. And believe me, we cannot get the animal control people out here. It just, we've had dangerous dog situations, and they won't even respond. They just throw it back in our lap. So, and of course, we have no place to take a cat or a dog that is to be captured for a number of reasons.
Wow.
Thank you.
And thank you. Does anybody else have any other questions for the law director? All right, thank you for that, John. Moving on to our clerk of council's report, Mrs. Sally Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to report that resolution numbers 34-2022 through 37-2022 were posted as required. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for our clerk of council? All right, moving on to item number 9, which is new business. So the first is an ordinance, and this looks like it must be read in full. So, who is this? It looks like, is there a motion, Councilmember Sylvester?
I move to adopt.
Oh, first, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, she got to do the.
I'm sorry, because it needs to be read in full. So,
yeah.
will the clerk please read ordinance number 33-2022 in full, please?
And Mr. Mayor, I'm going to get some assistance tonight, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Amending appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Forest Park, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. Whereas the 2022 annual appropriations were established in Ordinance Number 29-2021 and were adopted by the City Council on December 20th, 2021. And whereas the anticipated revenue and expenditures are coming in as anticipated for the general fund and other funds of the city. And whereas appropriations must be within available resources per the Ohio Revised Code. And whereas an amended certificate of resources is being requested from the Hamilton County Budget Commission. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Forest Park, Ohio, Section 1, that the 2022 Annual Appropriation Ordinance 29-2021, 5-2022, 22-2022, and 23-2022 as hereby amended to the amounts listed on Exhibit 1. Okay. Section 2. The Finance Director is hereby authorized to make payments utilizing the city's treasury for expenditures and from the foregoing appropriation upon receiving proper certification. The Finance Director is hereby authorized to administer and monitor purchases, requisitions approved by the Department Directors and authorized by law, by ordinance, or by resolution. The Finance Director is hereby authorized to pay salaries in accordance with the city's salary resolution and within personal service appropriation listed in Exhibit 1. Section 3. The Finance Director is hereby authorized to transfer or advance amounts included in the appropriation to correct funds as listed on Exhibit 2. Section 4. The appropriation ordinance will be enforced and take effect on its passage pursuant to the provisions of Sections 12.05 of the Charter of the City of Forest Park, Ohio.
Thank you for that, Ms. Bailey. All right, is there a motion, Councilmember Sylvester?
Yes, I move that we adopt ordinance number 33-2022.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
Other than we've received our the ordinance reading full and for the function of the city and the benefit of the citizens of the city of Forest Park, I move that we adopt ordinance number 33-2022.
All right, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion?
Mr. Mayor, one
Yes.
quick question. These were not posted. We have to do the 2 readings.
Yeah, because this doesn't say emergency on it. Although it is an appropriation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even though it wasn't posted,
Yeah, it wasn't posted, but
just 1 reading.
just one reading because it's an appropriation.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Oh, so we can't do the roll call? So no second reading?
yes.
Okay. Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion?
Adams,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Sylvester.
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance number 33-2022 passes. Moving on, I need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, none of these were posted,
Oh, so all of
so
them
we
would
can't
need to be
suspend the
read.
rules on them.
Okay. All right, we're just gonna move on to, ordinance number 34-2022. Will the acting clerk, oh, you're gonna read?
We gotta go back and forth.
Okay, will the clerk please read, ordinance number 34-2022 in full?
And this will just be the first reading until next council meeting.
Yes.
Ordinance number 34-2022. An ordinance amending Chapter 139 drug offenses, removing penalties for marijuana possession and categorizing it as a minor misdemeanor. Whereas the legislature of the state of Ohio legalized the medical use of marijuana for certain qualifying conditions in 2016, and whereas the state of Ohio has also reduced jail time for possession of lesser amounts of marijuana under 200 grams, and possession can be considered a minor misdemeanor. And whereas the public perception of marijuana use has changed over the last decade, resulting in numerous states and local municipalities nationwide passing legislation enabling medical and recreational marijuana use, including localities here in Southwest Ohio. And whereas the city of Forest Park desires to remain an innovator in policy setting for new and emerging industries and and economies in Southwest Ohio. And whereas the city anticipates the arrival of marijuana-based businesses engaged in the cultivation, manufacturing, and sale of marijuana-related products, bringing new jobs. And whereas upon a careful review of marijuana decriminalization laws in surrounding areas throughout the state of Ohio, the Council of the City of Forest Park, Ohio discussed this issue during work session. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Forest Park, Ohio, Section 1, that Section 139.031 of the Codified Ordinances be added as follows. A, no person age 18 or over shall knowingly obtain, possess, or use marijuana or a compound, mixture, preparation, or substance containing marijuana. Whoever violates this section is guilty of possession of marijuana, a minor misdemeanor. The penalty for the offense shall be determined as follows. 1, if the amount of the drug involved is less than 200 grams, possession of marijuana is a minor misdemeanor drug abuse offense. Persons convicted of violating this section shall be fined 0 and serve no jail time, provided that any such marijuana use did not occur in a public place, defined for purposes of this section as places generally open to the public, including but not limited to sidewalks, streets, parks, and places of public accommodation. B, no person shall knowingly give or offer to make a gift of 20 grams or less of marijuana. The penalty for the offense shall be determined as follows. Whoever violates this section anywhere inside city limits is guilty of trafficking in marijuana, a minor misdemeanor drug abuse offense. Persons convicted of violating this section shall be fined $0 and serve no jail time. C, arrest or conviction of a minor misdemeanor violation of this section does not constitute a criminal record and need not be reported by the person so arrested or convicted in response to any inquiries about the person's criminal record, including any inquiries contained in any application for employment, license, or other right or privilege, or made in connection with the person's appearance as a witness. Or ORC 2925.11. D, all court costs shall be $0 for violations of these sections herein. E, severability, the sections of this ordinance are severable. The invalidity of a section shall not affect the validity of the remaining sections. Invalid sections shall be revised to the minimum extent necessary to maintain validity and enforceability. Section 2, this resolution shall be in full force and take effect from and after the earliest date allowed by law.
Thank you for that, Sally.
I have a question. On section B, it says no person shall knowingly give offer to make a gift of 20 grams or less. So you can make a gift of 30 grams?
No, that would still be in violation against state law.
But you're saying make a gift of 20 grams or less. So
Yeah, that qualifies for being a minor misdemeanor with no fine, no jail time, no court costs, and no necessary reporting of a criminal charge on an employment application. If it's over 20 grams, then the person would be subjected to a trafficking offense with penalties.
Yeah.
okay, I
decriminalization.
just wanted to clarify because, you know, to a layperson, just to read that, it says, 20 grams or less, but you can do over 20.
Yeah. No, but since it still says no person shall knowingly give or offer, that means it's still illegal activity, but it's classified as a minor misdemeanor. So the decriminalization effect is that there are no fines and no jail time associated.
I had the
the J
same
in there?
question in section 1, A1.
Yeah, that's the same point. 'Cause remember the original meeting that we had, decriminalization is different than legalization. It still has to be classified and written in a way that it shows that this is a legal activity, but because it's in compliance with state law for the use of recreational use of marijuana under 200 grams, you just remove the fines when you classify it as a minor misdemeanor.
Yes, sir, but I was reflecting back on what our law director has said when he had a discussion about 20 grams or less. So I think I was looking for the language to specifically say, 200 grams or less. I was looking for the language to specifically say 200 grams or less. However, I can.
It says
I
less
can't.
than
I can.
200.
I understand, sir.
Yeah,
I was just looking for the specific language. That's it.
Okay, and then since the first reading, we're not voting on this tonight, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so moving on to item number C, which is ordinance number 35-2022, and this also must be read in full. So will the acting clerk please read this in full?
Okay.
This
Okay.
will not be long.
Ordinance number 35-2022. An ordinance amending the rules and regulations of the Civil Service Commission of the City of Forest Park and declaring an emergency. Whereas Article 11 of the city charter provides that council shall establish by ordinance the Civil Service Commission rules and regulation. And whereas the Civil Service Commission has submitted amendments to the current rules and regulation as attached in Exhibit A for council's consideration. And whereas the recommended changes are being made to comply with the revisions of the Ohio Revised Code to allow the city to hire in a more efficient manner and give the current labor, in a more efficient manner given the current labor market. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Forest Park, Section 1, the council adopts the proposed amendments in Exhibit A. Section 2, references to this ordinance shall be added to Chapter 36, Civil Service Rules and Regulations where appropriate. Section 3, the council finds and determines that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the adoption of this ordinance were taken in open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and any committees that resulted from those formal actions were meeting open to the public in compliance with the law. Section 4, this ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary for immediate preservation of the health, safety, and welfare of the employees of the City of Forest Park and shall take effect immediately. This is due to the instant need for city administration to address recruiting and hiring issues.
All right, thank you for that, Ms. Bailey. All right, is there a motion? Oh, Councilmember Harrison.
And I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 35-2022.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
I do have some discussion, and maybe it's just the wording for me. Can someone please explain to me that this ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure? I'm trying to understand the language of emergency measure necessary. I can understand it being a need, but I'm trying to understand the language for emergency measure.
If it's not an emergency, of course, you have to read it twice. This is considered an emergency because city administration, city manager, department heads have been waiting for these changes for months. And the sooner we can get these changes of record, the sooner we're in a better position to hire now and immediately, instead of having that delay that was explained to you by the person on the TV, that we wait 90 days, we lose good candidates. So that's why it's an emergency, because of course our need to hire is always ongoing, and we want to step up the process now instead of 2 weeks from now.
Thank you, Law Director Wyckoff.
All right, well, it's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion?
Brown,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
yes. Sylvester,
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
All right, ordinance number 35-2022 passes. All right, now I need a motion to suspend the rules.
Mr. Mayor, we can't suspend the rules. Nothing was posted.
Oh, nothing was supposed to, I didn't even read that part. I just kept saying it in full. All right, okay. Well, let's buckle in, everybody. Moving on to item number D, so resolution number 38-2022. Will the clerk please read that resolution in full?
Resolution number 38-2022, authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract between the City of Forest Park and the truck drivers, chauffeurs, and helpers local union 100 public works employees. Whereas the labor contract between the City of Forest Park and the Forest Park Public Works Employees Bargaining Association expired on December 31st, 2021. And whereas negotiators for both parties have tentatively reached a mutually agreeable contract subject to the final approval of the City Council. And whereas it is the intention of the Council of the City of Forest Park to enter into said contract marked Exhibit A. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Forest Park, Ohio, Section 1, that the city manager is hereby authorized and directed to enter into a contract with the truck drivers, chauffeurs, and helpers local union number 100 public works employees in accordance with the terms and conditions as described in the attached contract dated January 1st, 2022, and marked Exhibit A. Section 2. This resolution shall be in full force and take effect upon its passage.
All right, thank you for that, Mrs. Boyd. Is there a motion, Councilmember Sylvester?
Yes, I move that we adopt resolution number 38-2022.
Been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
No further discussion. It's a event that's required on services that need to be rendered to the city. So.
Okay. All right, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion?
Clark,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Sylvester,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes. All right, resolution number 38-2022 passes. Moving on to item number E, resolution number 39-2022. Will the clerk please read that resolution in full?
Resolution number 39-2022, amending the resolution setting rates of pay for below civil and non-civil service employees. Whereas the rate of pay for Public Works Union Local 100 and the Fire Union IAFF are being updated to match new collective bargaining agreements. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Forest Park, Ohio, Section 1, Exhibit 1, 2022 salary and rates of pay for below civil and non-civil service employees. Position, Public Works Department. Maintenance Worker 1, minimum $47,902, maximum $59,543. Maintenance Worker 2, minimum $54,104, maximum $66,504. Maintenance Worker 3, minimum $58,563, maximum $71,914. Fire Department, firefighter EMT recruit 49,227. Minimum 49,227, maximum 49,228. Firefighter EMT, minimum 53,727, maximum 72,208. Fire Inspector EMT, minimum 56,542, maximum 75,582. Firefighter Paramedic, minimum 57,509, maximum 75,990. Fire Inspector Paramedic, minimum 60,438, maximum 79,477. Lieutenant, minimum 77,123, maximum 81,019. Captain, minimum 81,458, maximum 85,572. And Training Captain, minimum 81,458, maximum 85,572.
Thank you for that, Mrs. Bailey. Is there a motion? Ooh, that would actually be Dr. Moore. So I'll make this motion. I move that we adopt resolution number
39.
wait, no, I'm sorry. That would be Councilmember Sylvester. Yeah. Is there a motion?
All right,
I was on the next one. I was reading the wrong one.
All right. I move that we adopt resolution number 39-2022.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
No further discussion, though we might have, some range of left and right with the, but that's a function that's needed for the city. So, with that,
Thank you for that,
let's
Councilman.
wipe our tears and move on.
Thank you for that, Councilmember. Would the clerk please read the roll on the resolution?
Harrison,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Moore, Sylvester,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
All right, the resolution passes. Moving on to resolution number 40-2022. Will the clerk please read that resolution in full?
Resolution number 40-2022. A resolution authorizing the city manager to accept the city's portion of the One Ohio funds and authorizing the city manager to sign any agreements necessary to obtain and release funds. Whereas the city of Forest Park signed the agreement with the state of Ohio to receive its portion of the $829 billion One Ohio opiate settlement funds for the state of Ohio. And whereas the funds for the city of Forest Park will total approximately $134,000 over the 18-month distribution period. And whereas Ohio was one of the first states to sue opioid makers and drug distributors for their role in flooding the market with massive amounts of highly addictive opioids. And whereas according to the Ohio Department of Health, opiates are associated with more overdose in the state of Ohio than any other prescription or illegal drug, including cocaine and heroin. And whereas these funds must be used for the activities listed in the Ohio abatement strategies, and these funds can be used to improve the health and well-being of the citizens of Forest Park that may be struggling with addiction or mental health challenges. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Forest Park, Ohio. Section 1, that the city manager is hereby authorized and directed to accept on behalf of the City of Forest Park the funding from the One Ohio opiate settlement. Section 2, that the One Ohio opiate settlement is for a monthly payment of $7,044.74 over a period of 18 months for a total of $134,005.32. There are no matching requirements for these funds. The funds must be used for activities listed in the Ohio abatement strategies. A proposed plan for the use of these funds will be developed by city staff and submitted to the city manager for approval. Section 3, that the finance director does agree to obligate the funds required to satisfactorily complete the proposed projects under the terms and conditions of the One Ohio opiate settlement program for the state of Ohio. Section 4, this resolution shall be in full force and take effect from and after its passage.
Thank you for that, Ms. Boyd. I move that we adopt resolution number 40-2022.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? And this was actually just read in full, so I don't think that there is any more discussion to be made. Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion?
Actually, I do have something I'd like to ask about this. And please forgive me, and we can definitely, if you see fit, Mayor, we can talk about it later during a work session. But I wanted to just kind of get some better understanding where or what the money will be allocated to that is going to be received. So every month for the next 18 months, where would this $7,000 be allocated to? What part of the abatement strategy what is it going to support, or how is it going to be divvied out or spent?
Yeah, it might be a Don question.
We are, our fire department and our health department, so to speak. We have a health administrator on staff, and they will be basically coming up with programs that will qualify under these, for the use of these funds. So we don't have a specific program yet, but we will be coming up with a program now that we're able to begin receiving these funds.
Thank you, City Manager.
One other question, Don, will that administrative salary be supported from those funds?
I don't think that's part of a use.
Okay.
We've had her, she's been on staff for over a year now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions for the city manager? All right, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion?
Holt,
I say yes. I just think it's a shame that, Forest Park got such a small amount out of this gigantic amount. But yes.
Sylvester,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
All right, resolution number 40-2022 passes. Moving on, will the acting clerk please read resolution number 41-2022 in full, please?
Resolution number 41-2022, a resolution requesting the Hamilton County Auditor to place special assessments against various properties by the City of Forest Park Community Development Program. Whereas the City of Forest Park has implemented and operates a property maintenance program to enforce codes and standards established by law, and whereas the property owners are negligent or otherwise fail to maintain their property to the standard required by law, the city may be required to perform certain services on that property, included but not limited to grass and weed cutting, trash pickup, and other maintenance work. And whereas the property owners are billed at their address of record for the reasonable cost and expense of such work performed by the city. And whereas for delinquent charges, a special assessment may be filed with the Auditor of Hamilton County as a lien upon the real property. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Forest Park, Section 1, that the Hamilton County Auditor is hereby requested to place special assessment on various properties by the City of Forest Park Community Development Department, said list of properties attached hereto as Exhibit A and made part of this resolution. Section 2, this resolution shall be in full force and take effect from and after its passage.
All right, thank you for that, Mrs. Bailey. Is there a motion, Council or First Vice Mayor Holt?
To accept resolution number 40-2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion?
No further discussion. I think it's self-explanatory as it was read in full.
All right. Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion?
Sylvester,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Holt.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Moving on to item number H, I need a motion. Is there a motion, Councilmember Harrison?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to accept the resignation of Mr. Sherman Bradley from the Planning Commission for the term expiring November 30th, 2025.
Been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
I'll have none at this time.
All right, and can this be a voice?
Yes.
All right, all those in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sound of voting aye.
Aye.
Aye. So any opposed? All right, motion passes. And that looks like that was the last item on the agenda, so is there any other business to come before the body? Is there any other business to come before the body? Is there any other business to come before the body? Hearing none, this council meeting is adjourned.